Thus spoke Zarathustra, a book for all and none, written by Friedrich Nietzsche, Contemporised. When Zarathustra reached the age of 30, he left the comfort of his home and the tranquil lake that had been his sanctuary. He ventured into the mountains, where he revelled in the solitude and the freedom of his own thoughts. For a decade, he found no reason to tire of this isolation. However, a transformation occurred within him. One morning, as the sky blushed with the first light of dawn, he stood before the rising sun and addressed it with these words: "O magnificent star, what would your brilliance amount to if there were no eyes to witness it? For a decade you've made the arduous journey to my secluded abode. Your light would have lost its purpose, your journey its meaning, had it not been for my presence, my eagle, and my serpent. We greeted you each dawn, drank deeply from your overflowing light, and offered our blessings in return. Now I find myself burdened by the weight of my own wisdom, much like a bee that has collected more honey than it can carry. I yearn for outstretched hands to share this abundance. I wish to give freely, until the wise rediscover joy in their own follies, and the impoverished find happiness in newfound wealth. Thus, I must descend into the depths of human experience, just as you, resplendent star, sink below the horizon to illuminate the world below. I, too, must go down, as the saying goes, to those to whom I shall impart my wisdom. Bless me, tranquil eye of the universe, for you gaze upon even the most extravagant joy without a hint of envy. Bless this vessel that stands on the brink of overflowing, so that its golden contents may reflect your boundless joy to every corner of the earth. Behold, this vessel is about to empty itself once more, and Zarathustra shall return to the realm of mere mortals." And so began Zarathustra's descent. As Zarathustra descended the mountain, he found himself alone. No one crossed his path. However, upon entering the forest, he encountered an elderly man, a hermit who had left his secluded dwelling to forage for roots. The old man addressed Zarathustra. "I recognize this wanderer. He passed by many years ago. He was known as Zarathustra then, but he has changed. Once, you carried your burdens up the mountain. Now, do you intend to bring your enlightenment down to the valleys? Are you not afraid of the repercussions, the fate of one who ignites fires? Yes, I see it's you, Zarathustra. Your eyes are clear, and your lips bear no trace of disdain. You move with the grace of a dancer. You've changed, Zarathustra. You've become like a child, awakened. What do you seek among those who are still asleep? You've lived in solitude, buoyed by the sea of your own thoughts. Will you now come ashore? Will you burden yourself once more with the weight of the world?" To this, Zarathustra responded, "I love humanity." "Why?" queried the hermit. "Did I retreat into the forest and the desert? Was it not because my love for humanity was too overwhelming? Now, I love God. Humanity, I do not. Humans are too flawed, too imperfect. To love them would be my undoing." Zarathustra retorted, "Who spoke of love? I come bearing gifts for humanity." "Give them nothing," advised the hermit. "Instead, share their burdens. Walk beside them. That would be more meaningful to them, if it aligns with your own desires. If you must give, let it be mere alms, and let them beg for it." "No," Zarathustra firmly declared. "I give no alms. I'm not impoverished enough for such gestures." The hermit laughed at Zarathustra's words and responded, "Then ensure that they are willing to accept your gifts. People are skeptical of recluses like us. They don't believe we come bearing treasures. The echo of our footsteps in their streets sounds too vacant, too hollow, just as they would at night, lying in their beds, hearing someone wandering before dawn. They wonder, where is this thief going? Don't go to people, remain in the forest. Why not emulate me, a bear among bears, a bird among birds?" "And what does the hermit do in the forest?" Zarathustra inquired. The hermit replied, "I compose hymns and sing them. In the act of hymn-making, I find myself laughing, weeping, and murmuring. In this way, I offer my praise to the God who is my God. But what gifts do you bring to us?" Upon hearing these words, Zarathustra bowed respectfully to the hermit and said, "What could I possibly offer you? I should hasten my departure before I inadvertently take something from you." And so they parted ways, both laughing like children reveling in a newfound game. However, once alone, Zarathustra mused to himself, "Could it be that this old hermit, secluded in his forest, has not yet heard the news that God is dead?" When Zarathustra reached the neighboring town bordering the forest, he found the marketplace bustling with people. They had gathered to witness a performance by a rope dancer. Standing amidst the crowd, Zarathustra addressed them. "I bring you the concept of the Superman. Humanity is but a stepping stone, a phase to be transcended. What efforts have you made to evolve beyond your current state? Every creature that has ever existed has aspired to something greater than itself. Do you wish to be the exception, to regress rather than progress? Consider the ape in relation to humanity, a subject of mockery, an emblem of shame. Similarly, humanity will appear ludicrous and shameful to the Superman. You have evolved from the worm to your current form, yet much within you remains primitive. You were once apes, and even now you bear more resemblance to apes than any ape does to you. Even the wisest among you is a discordant amalgam of organic and ethereal elements. But do I ask you to become mere phantoms or plants? No, I introduce you to the Superman. The Superman is the raison d'être of this earth. Let your will declare, the Superman shall be the purpose of this earth. I implore you, remain faithful to the earth and be wary of those who entice you with otherworldly promises. They are the poisoners, whether they realize it or not. Once, blaspheming against God was the most heinous act. But God is dead, and so are those blasphemies. Now, the most dreadful sin is to denigrate the earth, to elevate the enigma of the divine above the tangible reality of our world. Once, the soul regarded the body with disdain, considering such contempt to be the pinnacle of virtue. The soul desired the body to be emaciated, spectral, and starved, believing that in doing so it could sever its ties to the corporeal and the terrestrial. Ah, but that soul was itself a wretched entity, spectral and starved, and its delight lay in cruelty. But what about you, my brethren? What does your body reveal about your soul? Is your soul not a manifestation of impoverishment, defilement, and pitiable self-satisfaction? Indeed, humanity is like a tainted stream. To absorb such a stream without becoming contaminated, one must be as vast as the sea. Behold, I introduce you to the Superman. He is that sea, capable of submerging even your most profound contempt. What is the most intense experience you can undergo? It is the moment of profound contempt, the moment when even your happiness becomes repugnant to you, along with your reason and virtue. It is the moment when you question, what worth is my happiness? It is nothing but impoverishment, defilement, and pitiable self-satisfaction. Yet, my happiness should be the very justification for existence. It is the moment when you challenge, what worth is my reason? Does it hunger for knowledge as a lion hungers for sustenance? It is nothing but impoverishment, defilement, and pitiable self-satisfaction. The moment when you question, what worth is my virtue? It has not ignited a fire within me. How fatigued I am by my own morality and immorality. They are but manifestations of impoverishment, defilement, and pitiable self-satisfaction. The moment when you challenge, what worth is my sense of justice? I do not see that it fuels me with passion. True justice should be both fervor and fuel. The moment when you ponder, what worth is my compassion? Is compassion not the crucifix upon which the lover of humanity is nailed? Yet my compassion is no crucifixion. Have you ever uttered such words? Have you ever lamented in this manner? Ah, how I wish I had heard you express such sentiments. It is not your sin that cries out to the heavens. It is your self-satisfaction, your very reluctance to sin that resounds as a clarion call. Where is the lightning that should strike you, that should awaken you? Where is the madness that should inoculate you against complacency? Behold, I introduce you to the Superman. He is that lightning, he is that frenzy. As Zarathustra concluded, someone from the crowd shouted, "We've heard enough about the rope dancer. It's time to see him perform." The crowd erupted in laughter at Zarathustra's expense. Unbeknownst to them, the rope dancer, thinking the comment was directed at him, commenced his act. Zarathustra observed the crowd and felt a sense of wonderment. Then he spoke. Humanity is a tenuous rope, stretched between the realm of the animal and that of the Superman, a rope suspended over a chasm. The journey across this rope is fraught with peril, a perilous crossing, a perilous journey, a perilous glance backward, a perilous hesitation. What elevates humanity is that it serves as a bridge, not a destination. What endears humanity to us is its capacity for transcendence and descent. I hold in high regard those who know no way to live other than as beings in descent, for they are the ones who will ascend. I cherish the great despisers, for they are also the great admirers, arrows of yearning aimed at the distant shore. I admire those who do not seek celestial justification for their descent and sacrifice, but offer themselves to the earth, so that the earth may one day give rise to the Superman. I esteem the one who lives to acquire knowledge, and who seeks knowledge, so that the Superman may one day live. In this way, he orchestrates his own descent. I respect the one who toils and innovates to construct the dwelling for the Superman, to prepare the earth, flora, and fauna for him. In doing so, he orchestrates his own descent. I honor the one who cherishes his virtue, for virtue is the will to descend and a row of yearning. I admire the one who reserves no fragment of his spirit for himself, but wishes to be entirely the spirit of his virtue. In this manner, he traverses the bridge as pure spirit. I esteem the one who makes his virtue both his inclination and destiny. For the sake of his virtue, he is willing to persist in life or cease to exist. I respect the one who desires not a multitude of virtues. A singular virtue is more potent than multiple, for it provides a more secure anchor for one's destiny. I honor the one whose soul is generous, who neither seeks gratitude nor reciprocates, for he perpetually bestows and has no desire to hoard for himself. I value the one who feels shame when fortune favors him in a game of chance, questioning, "Am I a deceitful player?" For he is willing to accept defeat. I appreciate the one who disseminates golden words before his actions and consistently exceeds his promises, for he orchestrates his own descent. I admire the one who vindicates those yet to come and redeems those who have passed, for he willingly sacrifices himself to the exigencies of the present. I esteem the one who rebukes his God out of love for him, for he must accept the divine wrath as part of his descent. I respect the one whose soul is so profoundly deep that even a minor affront can lead to his downfall. Thus, he willingly crosses the bridge. I honor the one whose soul is so replete that he forgets himself and all things are subsumed within him. Thus, all things contribute to his descent. I value the one who is of free spirit and free heart. His intellect is but the servant of his heart, and his heart orchestrates his descent. I appreciate those who are like heavy raindrops, falling one by one from the looming cloud that hangs over humanity. They presage the coming of the lightning and willingly serve as its heralds. Behold, I am a herald of the lightning and a heavy drop from the cloud, but the lightning itself is the Superman. After Zarathustra had spoken these words, he looked again at the crowd and fell silent. There they stand, he mused inwardly. There they laugh. They do not comprehend me. I am not the voice for these unattuned ears. Must their ears be assaulted before they learn to perceive with their eyes? Must one resound like cacophonous drums or fire and brimstone preachers? Or do they only lend credence to the inarticulate? They possess something that inflates their pride. They label it culture, setting them apart from mere herdsmen. They are averse, then, to hearing of their own contempt. I shall, therefore, engage their pride. I will discourse on the most contemptible concept, that is, the last man. And so Zarathustra addressed the people. The time has come for humanity to establish its ultimate aim, to sow the seed of its loftiest aspiration. The soil of human potential is still fertile enough for this endeavor. Yet, a day will come when this soil will be depleted, incapable of nurturing any grand vision. Woe unto us, for a time will arrive when humanity will no longer aim its aspirations beyond its own limitations, when the bowstring will have forgotten how to sing. I declare to you, one must harbor chaos within oneself to give birth to a dancing star. I assure you, chaos still resides within you. Alas, a time will come when humanity will no longer beget any stars. Woe unto us, for the era of the most contemptible human is approaching, one who lacks even the capacity for self-contempt. Behold, I present to you the last man. What is love? What is creation? What is longing? What is a star? So queries the last man, squinting in perplexity. The earth will have shrunk, and upon it will hop the last man who diminishes everything. His kind will be as indelible as the common flea. The last man will endure the longest. We have unearthed happiness, proclaim the last men, squinting as they do so. They have abandoned challenging environments, for they crave comfort. Neighborly love persists only as a means to generate warmth. To fall ill or to harbor distrust is deemed sinful. They tread cautiously. The one who still trips over obstacles, be they stones or other people, is deemed a fool. A modicum of poison now, and then yields pleasant dreams, and an ample dose eventually ensures a comfortable demise. Work persists as a form of amusement, yet caution is exercised to ensure this diversion inflicts no harm. Neither poverty nor wealth holds allure. Both are deemed too onerous. Who desires to govern? Who wishes to submit? Both are equally taxing. A society without a shepherd, a single herd. Uniformity is the aspiration. Equality is the norm. Anyone who deviates from this consensus willingly commits themselves to the asylum. Once, the entire world was mad, proclaim the most discerning among them, squinting as they do so. They are astute, well-versed in history, and thus their mockery knows no bounds. Conflicts may arise, but they are swiftly resolved, lest they upset the digestive balance. Daytime brings its minor delights, as does the night, but always with a nod to well-being. We have discovered happiness, reiterate the last men, squinting as they do so. Thus concluded Zarathustra's inaugural discourse. At this juncture, the crowd's clamour and jubilation interrupted him. Bestow upon us this last man, O Zarathustra, they clamoured. Transform us into these last men, and we shall gift you the Superman. The crowd erupted in cheers and smug satisfaction. Zarathustra, however, felt a pang of melancholy and mused, They do not comprehend me. I am not the voice for these unattuned ears. Perhaps I have dwelt too long in the mountains, listened too intently to the streams and the trees. Now I address them as if they were mere herdsmen. My soul is tranquil and lucid, akin to the mountains at dawn. Yet they perceive me as cold, a cynic armed with devastating wit. They gaze at me and laugh, but their laughter is tinged with animosity. There is a frigidity in their mirth. Then a startling event transpired that rendered every mouth agape and every eye transfixed. In the interim, the rope dancer had initiated his act. Emerging from a small door, he traversed the rope stretched between two towers, suspended above the marketplace and its spectators. As he reached the midpoint, the door opened again, and a flamboyantly attired figure, resembling a jester, darted out and pursued him. "Move, you cripple," bellowed the jester, in a voice tinged with malevolence. "Hurry, you sluggard, you interloper, you pallid wretch. What business have you between these towers? You belong confined within one, obstructing the path of your betters." With each utterance, the jester closed the gap. When he was but a step away, a horrifying event unfolded that silenced the crowd and riveted their gaze. With a demonic shriek, the jester vaulted over his rival. The rope dancer, witnessing his competitor's audacious leap, lost both his composure and his balance. Casting aside his balancing pole, he plummeted, a whirlwind of flailing limbs, into the abyss below. The marketplace erupted into chaos, resembling a tempest-tossed sea as people scattered to evade the falling body. Zarathustra, however, remained steadfast. The body plummeted beside him, grievously wounded and disfigured, yet clinging to life. After a moment, the injured man regained consciousness and found Zarathustra kneeling beside him. "What are you doing?" he finally inquired. "I've long suspected that some malevolent force would be my downfall. Is it now dragging me to the abyss? Will you intervene?" "Rest assured, my friend," Zarathustra responded. "There is no malevolent force, no abyss awaiting you. Your soul will depart even before your corporeal form, hence, fear not." The man looked up, skeptical but intrigued. "If you speak the truth," he said, "then my life's forfeiture costs me nothing. I am but a creature conditioned to perform, sustained by meager sustenance and the lash." "Far from it," Zarathustra countered. "You chose a vocation fraught with peril, and there is no dishonor in that. Now, as you meet your end through your chosen path, it is only fitting that I lay you to rest with my own hands." Upon hearing this, the dying man offered no further words, yet he extended his hand as if seeking Zarathustra's in a gesture of silent gratitude. As evening descended, the marketplace was shrouded in shadows. The crowd dispersed, their curiosity and dread eventually yielding to fatigue. Zarathustra, however, remained seated beside the lifeless body, engrossed in contemplation, oblivious to the passage of time. When night finally enveloped him and a frigid wind began to gust, Zarathustra stood and spoke to his own heart. Indeed, today Zarathustra has made a curious catch. Not a living man, but a lifeless form is what I've ensnared. Human existence is shrouded in darkness, its meaning yet elusive. Even a mere jester can tip the scales of fate. I aspire to enlighten humanity about the essence of their being, the Superman, the lightning that illuminates the dark cloud of human existence. Yet I find myself estranged from them. My wisdom falls on deaf ears. To them I remain an enigma, suspended between folly and mortality. The night is dark, and Zarathustra's path is fraught with obscurity. Come, my cold and rigid companion, I shall convey you to your final resting place, a grave I will dig with my own hands. Having spoken these words to his own heart, Zarathustra hoisted the lifeless body onto his shoulders and commenced his journey. He had barely taken 100 steps when a figure surreptitiously approached him, whispering into his ear. It was none other than the Jester from the tower. "Depart from this town, Zarathustra," he urged, "for you have garnered the enmity of many. The virtuous and the just revile you, branding you as their adversary and detractor. The adherents of conventional faiths deem you a menace to the collective. Your salvation today was your capacity for ridicule. Indeed, you spoke as if a jester yourself. Your association with this lifeless form has, in a manner most abasing, preserved your life. Leave this town, or come tomorrow, I shall vault over you, a living man over a lifeless one." With these words, the jester vanished into the obscurity, leaving Zarathustra to navigate the labyrinthine, dim-lit streets alone. As Zarathustra approached the town's gateway, he encountered the grave diggers, their torches illuminating his visage. Recognizing him, they scoffed. "Ah, Zarathustra has taken up the role of a grave digger, carrying away this lifeless form. How quaint! Our hands are too pristine for such a task. Is Zarathustra attempting to pilfer the devil's feast? If so, may fortune favor his audacity. But beware, the devil may outwit Zarathustra and claim both the feast and the thief." They chuckled amongst themselves, conspiratorially leaning in. Unperturbed, Zarathustra continued his solitary journey. After traversing forests and marshlands for 2 hours, the distant howls of famished wolves resonated with his own burgeoning hunger. He paused at a secluded dwelling, its solitary light a beacon in the darkness. "Hunger assails me," Zarathustra mused, "like a marauding bandit. Amidst the wilderness and the marshes it strikes, and always under the cloak of night. My hunger is capricious, often manifesting only after I've eaten, eluding me throughout the day. Where, I wonder, does it hide? Zarathustra rapped on the door of the secluded dwelling. An elderly man emerged, holding a lantern aloft, and inquired, "Who disturbs my restless slumber?" "A living man and a deceased one," Zarathustra replied. "I require sustenance, for I neglected to nourish myself during daylight. Wisdom declares that nourishing the famished rejuvenates one's own spirit." The old man retreated momentarily, only to return with an offering of bread and wine. "This is inhospitable terrain for the hungry," he remarked, "which is precisely why I reside here. Both beast and man seek refuge with me, the hermit, but do ensure that your companion partakes as well. He appears more fatigued than you." "My companion has departed this mortal coil," Zarathustra responded. "I doubt I could persuade him to consume anything." "That is not my concern," the old man retorted, somewhat curtly. "Whoever seeks my hospitality must accept what I proffer. Eat, and may your journey be fortuitous." Zarathustra continued his nocturnal trek for another 2 hours, guided by the celestial constellations. He was well acquainted with the art of navigating the night, and took solace in observing the dormant world around him. As dawn broke, he found himself enveloped by a dense forest, the path now obscured. He placed the lifeless body in the hollow of a tree to shield it from predatory wolves, then reclined on the earthy moss below. Overcome by physical exhaustion but with a soul at peace, he promptly succumbed to sleep. Zarathustra slumbered long, missing not only the rosy fingers of dawn, but also the full light of morning. When he finally awoke, he looked around in astonishment at the forest's tranquil beauty, and then inwardly at his own state of being. Rising swiftly, like a sailor who suddenly sights land, he was filled with exultation, for he had glimpsed a new truth. He then articulated this revelation to his own heart. "A new understanding has illuminated me. I require companions, living, breathing beings, not the lifeless forms and cadavers that I've been toting around. I need companions who will follow me because they are driven by their own intrinsic motivations, guided to the destination I envision." This newfound clarity tells me that my words are not meant for the masses. Zarathustra is not destined to be a mere shepherd of the flock, a keeper of the herd. My purpose is to draw many away from the collective, to liberate them from the herd mentality. And for this, the shepherds and the herd will revile me, labeling me a marauder. Observe those who call themselves virtuous and just, these shepherds of morality. What is the object of their deepest loathing? It is the one who shatters their moral frameworks, the iconoclast, the breaker of laws. Yet, this breaker is also the creator. Look also at the devout adherents of various faiths. Whom do they despise above all? Again, it is the one who disrupts their moral and religious codes, the same iconoclast, the same creator. The creator seeks not the lifeless or the conforming masses. What he seeks are fellow creators, those who are willing to inscribe new values on new tablets of law. The creator seeks companions, fellow harvesters, for he sees that the time for reaping has come. Yet he is frustrated, for he lacks the multitude of sickles needed for the harvest. He seeks those who know how to sharpen their own sickles, those who will be labeled as destroyers and scoffers of conventional notions of good and evil. Yet they are the true harvesters and celebrants of life. Fellow creators, fellow harvesters, fellow celebrants. These are the companions Zarathustra seeks. What business does he have with the conforming herds, their moralistic shepherds, or the lifeless? Farewell, my inaugural companion. You rest well in your arboreal tomb, shielded from the wolves, but the moment has come for me to part ways. Between one dawn and the next, a new revelation has dawned upon me. I am not destined to be a shepherd of the masses, nor a custodian of the dead. I shall no longer engage in discourse with the populace. My final words have been spoken to the deceased. I shall align myself with creators, harvesters, and celebrants. I will reveal to them the rainbow and all the steps leading to the Übermensch. I will sing my song to those who dwell alone and to those who share their solitude. To those who still have ears for the unheard, I will imbue their hearts with the weight of my joy. I am resolute in my journey, unwavering in my path. Over those who dawdle and delay, I will vault. Let my ascension be their descent. As the sun reached its zenith, Zarathustra looked skyward, his attention captured by the piercing cry of a bird. An eagle soared in expansive circles above him, a serpent coiled around its neck, not as prey, but as a companion. These are my creatures, Zarathustra mused, a sense of elation filling his heart. The eagle, the epitome of pride under the sun, and the serpent, the embodiment of wisdom, they have come to ascertain my existence. Do I still exist? Among humans, I've found more peril than among beasts. Let my creatures guide me on this treacherous path. Recalling the words of the saint in the forest, Zarathustra sighed and spoke inwardly. If only I were imbued with the wisdom that courses through my serpent, wisdom that emanates from the core of its being. But I seek the unattainable. Thus, let my pride accompany my wisdom. And should my wisdom ever abandon me, for it has a penchant for flight, may my pride take wing with my folly. Thus began Zarathustra's downgoing.